The outpost was quiet that night. Daniel, a human mechanic, was the only one awake in the workshop. He liked the silence because machines never lied. They only broke and waited for repair. But tonight the silence felt heavy, almost too heavy. The lights in the corridor flickered once, then went dark for a moment. Daniel frowned and checked his tools. But everything seemed fine. Still, something in his chest told him that the night was different. He went outside the workshop to breathe. The stars above the outpost were cold and endless. Daniel had lived among them for years, far away from Earth. He had learned to fix almost everything: broken engines, damaged life support, shattered drones. But he had never learned to fix loneliness. That loneliness was what made him notice the sound. A low groan, weak and trembling, coming from the shadow near the cargo bay. Daniel froze. His mind said ignore it, but his heart pushed him forward. He took slow steps, his boots echoing softly against the metal floor. The sound grew clearer, a voice, broken and filled with pain. When he turned the corner, he stopped breathing for a second. There, half hidden under a crate, was an alien. Its skin was pale blue, wrinkled with age, and glowing veins pulsed weakly across its body. The alien's eyes were wide, glassy, filled with both fear and silent begging. Daniel's hand shook. He knew the law: helping aliens without permission was forbidden. The station guards would throw him into a cell if they discovered him with one. Yet, how could he walk away? The alien coughed, a dry sound that made its chest tremble. "Please," it whispered, its voice thin like wind through a broken pipe. "Help me." Daniel knelt slowly. He could see wounds on the alien's arms. Old scars and fresh cuts. It looked like someone had beaten it. Maybe thrown it out to die. Daniel felt anger burn inside, but he pushed it down. This was not the time to ask questions. This was the time to decide. And his decision would change everything. He glanced around. The corridor cameras were broken, wires sparking faintly above the cargo door. That explained why no one else had seen the alien. It was luck, or maybe fate, that Daniel was the one to find it. He whispered back, "Stay quiet, I will hide you." The alien's weak hand reached out, gripping his sleeve with surprising strength. It nodded once, trusting him completely. That trust felt heavier than any machine Daniel had ever carried. He pulled the alien gently. The body was light, too light, like it had not eaten for days. Daniel wrapped a blanket around it and carried it into the workshop. Every step felt dangerous. Every shadow felt like an eye watching him. But somehow no one noticed. The workshop door slid shut behind him. Sealing the secret inside, Daniel laid the alien on a bench. He quickly cleared tools aside, his mind racing. "What am I doing?" he muttered. But his hands kept moving. He checked its pulse. Strange but still beating. He cleaned the wounds with water, wrapped them with cloth. The alien groaned but did not resist. For a moment their eyes met again, and Daniel felt something strange, like he was being judged or tested. The alien whispered words in a language Daniel could not understand, then switched to broken human tongue. "You should not." "Help me," it said. "Danger comes." Daniel frowned. Danger was already here. If anyone found out, his life would be over, but he ignored the warning. "You're safe now," he said firmly. "I won't let anyone hurt you." The alien closed its eyes. Breathing shallow but calmer now, Daniel sat beside it, heart still racing. He knew he had done something reckless, something that might destroy his life. But as he looked at the fragile figure resting in his workshop, he also knew he could not regret it, because sometimes rules were wrong, and sometimes kindness was the only repair the universe needed. Still, he could not shake the feeling. The air outside felt heavier than before, as if the stars themselves had noticed his choice, and in their endless silence, they were waiting, watching, deciding what to send in return. The workshop was darker than usual. Daniel had locked the door and turned off half the lights. He did not want anyone to know what was inside, on his bench under a blanket. The old alien slept restlessly. Its breathing was uneven, and every breath sounded like it could be the last. Daniel sat on a stool, elbows on his knees. Staring at it, he was a mechanic, not a doctor. But tonight he had to become both. He leaned closer, studying the alien's body. The skin was pale blue but thin and cracked like dry paper. Strange veins glowed faintly under it. Pulsing weakly, Daniel touched the wrist, feeling the faint beat of life. It was slow, too slow, he whispered to himself. "If I don't do something, it won't survive the night." He opened a drawer, pulling out tools he had never used for this kind of work. Wires, small energy cells, soldering kit. Machines could be repaired with replacement parts, but this was different still. The alien's body looked almost mechanical in its weakness. Maybe, just maybe, he could build something to help. The alien stirred, its eyes opening slightly. Why? Help me, it asked, its voice thin. Daniel hesitated. He could lie, but the truth felt easier. Because I couldn't leave you to die, he answered softly. The alien stared at him for a long moment, then closed its eyes again as if those words were enough. Daniel worked through the night. He connected small wires to a tiny power cell. He built a patch that could release energy slowly. If human machines could be powered by cells, maybe this alien body could absorb a little boost too. His hands shook as he worked. One mistake could kill, but doing nothing would kill anyway. And Daniel had never been the kind of man to stand by and watch. When he finally placed the small device near the alien's chest, it glowed faintly. For a second, nothing happened. Then the alien gasped, its chest rising sharply. Its body shivered, then settled. Breathing steadier, Daniel let out a long breath, his shoulders dropping in relief. It worked, he whispered, almost in disbelief. The alien opened its eyes again, weak but clearer this time. You, strange human, it murmured. You fix what others throw away. Daniel smiled faintly. But his smile faded quickly when the workshop lights flickered. He realized the device was pulling more energy than expected. If the outpost systems noticed a sudden drain, someone might come to check. He quickly adjusted the power flow, lowering the drain, but a soft alarm beeped on his console. Energy surge detected. He silenced it, hoping no one else had seen it on the main grid. Still, his heart raced because he knew he was being reckless. The alien tried to sit up, but Daniel gently pushed it back. You need to rest, he said. It shook its head, whispering words in its own tongue. Then in broken human speech it said, You risk much. For nothing. Daniel frowned. Not for nothing, he said. For you. The alien's eyes softened. And for the first time Daniel saw something in them. Respect or maybe sorrow, it whispered. The stars watch those who show kindness. Daniel didn't understand, but the words stayed in his mind. Hours passed. Daniel cleaned the alien's wounds properly. Wrapping them in fresh cloth, he gave it water, helped it drink slowly. Each time it coughed, Daniel felt his chest tighten. Afraid it would stop breathing, but little by little, color returned to its skin, not strong, but enough to show the device was working. By morning, Daniel was exhausted. His hands were greasy from both machine oil and alien blood. His eyes burned from no sleep. But when he looked at the alien resting peacefully now, he felt something he hadn't felt in years, purpose. Not just fixing broken engines for credits, but fixing something that mattered, saving a life. Then came the sound. A knock at the workshop door, heavy and sharp. Daniel's heart jumped into his throat. He rushed to cover the alien with a tarp and shoved tools on top. The device kept glowing faintly under the blanket, and he prayed no light would escape. The knock came again, louder this time. Mechanic Daniel, a voice called. Power surge registered near your section last night. Open the door. Daniel froze, sweat running down his back. If he opened the door, they might see. If he didn't, suspicion would only grow. He looked at the alien, who was watching him silently, its eyes wide. Then the alien whispered, Trust the stars. Daniel clenched his jaw, then slowly walked toward the door. His hand hovered over the lock. His heart pounding like a drum, the door hissed open, and 2 station guards stood outside. One of them narrowed his eyes, glancing past Daniel into the dim workshop. Daniel forced a tired smile. Worked late, he said. Maybe that's why the grid went strange. The guard stepped inside. Looking around, every second felt like a blade at Daniel's throat. His eyes flicked toward the tarp, praying they would not notice. And just when one guard's hand touched the edge of the tarp, a sharp alarm rang from another corridor. Security breach at Hangar 2, a voice shouted from the comms. The guards cursed, turned, and hurried out. Leaving the workshop in silence again, Daniel slammed the door shut. His chest heaving, he leaned against the wall. Half laughing, half shaking, the alien whispered weakly, The stars. Protect. Daniel looked at it. Unsettled, he didn't know if it was luck or something greater. But one thing was certain. His secret could not last much longer, and whatever was watching from the stars was far from finished with him. The outpost was never truly quiet. Engines hummed under the floors, distant machines clattered, and patrol boots echoed in the halls. But inside Daniel's workshop it was silent, too silent. The old alien rested on the bench, its chest rising slowly with each breath. Daniel sat nearby, cleaning tools that had already been cleaned 3 times. He wasn't worried about dirt. He was worried about discovery. The alien stirred, its eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Daniel leaned closer. "You're safe," he whispered. "I fixed what I could." The alien coughed weakly, shaking its head. "No, not safe," it said, its voice fragile but firm. Daniel frowned. "The guards are gone. No one knows you're here." But the alien's gaze pierced him, cold and knowing. "You do not understand," it said. "The stars, they are moving." Daniel blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" "The stars are moving," he asked softly. The alien closed its eyes as if searching for strength. Then it whispered, "When you chose to help me, you lit a signal not with machines but with your act." Daniel shivered. The words sounded strange, like a riddle, but there was weight in them. The alien continued, "Others will see it, and they will come." Daniel leaned back, rubbing his face with his hands. He thought of the guards last night, nearly discovering the secret. He thought of the power surge, the faint glow of the device he had built. If ships came looking, the whole station would notice, and he would be blamed. "I don't want trouble," Daniel whispered, almost to himself, but the alien's voice cut through. "Trouble already comes." For the rest of the day, Daniel tried to focus on his work. Customers came for repairs, drones with broken arms, engines needing calibration. He smiled, fixed, and sent them away. But inside his chest, unease grew heavier. Each time the console flickered, he thought someone had found out. Each time a patrol passed by, he feared they would stop. The alien's warning gnawed at his thoughts. It felt less like prophecy and more like a shadow already falling. That night, Daniel checked the sky through the small viewing port. The stars looked the same as always, cold, endless, scattered across black space. But when he adjusted the scanner, his heart skipped. Strange signals blinked at the edge of the radar, too faint to be ships, but too steady to be natural. They appeared, then vanished, as if something cloaked was moving above. Daniel stared at the screen, whispering, "What are you?" He rushed back to the workshop. The alien was awake, its eyes glowing brighter than before. "They are here," it said quietly. Daniel's mouth went dry. "Who?" he asked. The alien's voice was steady. "Watchers, hunters, seekers of dead and honor," it coughed, then added, "Not for me. For you?" Daniel shook his head. "Why me?" "I'm just a mechanic," the alien's gaze softened. "Because you chose kindness where others would choose fear." The words unsettled him. It sounded like praise, but it also felt like a curse. If someone powerful had noticed, what would they want from him? And what price would he pay? The next morning, the station commander announced an emergency. Strange readings were coming from outside the system. Extra patrols were ordered, scanners set to maximum. The whole outpost buzzed with tension. Daniel stayed in his workshop trying to look normal, but his eyes kept darting to the tarp that covered the alien. His secret felt like a ticking clock, each second louder than the last. That evening, the alien called him closer. Its voice was weaker, but its eyes burned with strange fire. "Human," it said. "Listen to me now, for soon it may be too late." Daniel swallowed hard. Nodding, the alien whispered, "I once held a place among the stars, not as a warrior, but as a guide." Daniel leaned in, caught by the quiet power in its voice. "But I was betrayed, left to rot, cast down to wander in pain," the alien said. "And now you, a human, lifted me when my own kind left me to die." Daniel felt a chill crawl up his spine. It wasn't just an old creature he was hiding. It was someone important, someone dangerous. "Why are you telling me this?" Daniel asked. The alien answered, "Because the stars are not blind. They test the hearts of men, and now they watch yours." Daniel sat back, shaking his head. "I don't want to be tested," he muttered. "I just wanted to help." The alien's lips curled into a faint, sad smile. "That is why you were chosen," it whispered later. When the lights of the outpost dimmed for night cycle, Daniel could not sleep. He kept looking at the scanner, where the strange signals still danced at the edge of the screen, ships hidden but circling, waiting, and for the first time, Daniel realized he was not afraid for himself. He was afraid for the alien he had saved, and afraid of what might happen when the stars decided to collect their debt. In the silence, he whispered to himself, "What did I start?" But the stars gave no answer. only their endless cold glow and the faint, steady blink of something waiting in the dark. The outpost was no longer calm. Whispers spread through the halls like smoke. Guards patrolled with sharper eyes. Scanners ran longer sweeps, and people spoke in low voices. Something unseen was circling in the dark sky above, and everyone could feel it. But no one knew the truth, that inside a small workshop, Daniel was hiding the reason. Daniel worked with trembling hands, fixing a drone's arm for a customer. He forced a smile, nodding as the man thanked him and left. But his mind was not on the work. It was on the alien hidden under layers of blankets, breathing faint but steady. Every knock on the door made his heart jump. Every shadow outside made him think of discovery. That night he whispered to the alien, "They're tightening the checks. I can't keep you here much longer." The alien looked at him with tired, glowing eyes. "Your fate is already written," it said softly. "The hunters are moving, and they will search until they find." Daniel swallowed, his throat dry. "I can hide you," he said. Though his voice shook, the alien shook its head slowly. "You do not hide a star's light, no matter how many blankets you throw upon it." The next day, 2 guards entered his workshop without asking. Daniel's chest froze as they walked around, their eyes sharp. "Strange readings keep coming from this section," one of them said. Daniel shrugged, keeping his voice steady. "Old equipment, bad wiring, I'll fix it." The guard touched the bench, fingers only inches from the tarp where the alien lay. Daniel's heart hammered like a drum, but then a comlink buzzed in the guard's ear, calling him to another corridor. They left, but Daniel knew it was only a matter of time. He checked the device he had built. It glowed softly, keeping the alien alive, but it was draining more power each day. The grid would not stay blind forever soon. Someone higher in command would notice the strange energy pattern. Daniel adjusted the circuits, whispering, "Just hold on." The alien's eyes watched him, filled with a mix of gratitude and sorrow. "You risk everything," it said, "but the stars will not let your risk go unanswered." That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He wandered the workshop, checking doors. Peering through the small port at the black sky, the scanner flickered again, showing those strange faint signals. This time they were closer. Moving slowly, circling like predators, Daniel muttered, "They're hunting," his hands tightening into fists. And he realized the alien was right. Whatever was out there was not leaving. Not until it found what it wanted. The next morning, the commander's voice echoed through the intercom. "All civilians must allow inspection of their quarters. No exceptions." Daniel felt the blood drain from his face. He looked at the alien, who stared back silently. "They'll find you," Daniel whispered. "They'll tear this place apart until they do." The alien nodded slowly. "Then you must choose, betray me or protect me." Daniel clenched his jaw. "I won't hand you over," he said. But deep down he wondered if his choice would destroy them both. The inspections began. Doors opened one by one. Guards stepping inside with scanners. Daniel heard them coming closer, their boots echoing in the hallway. He rushed to the alien, tightening the tarp. Hiding the glow of the device as best he could, he whispered, "Don't make a sound." The alien touched his arm weakly, whispering, "Whatever happens, remember, the stars saw you." Daniel's chest tightened, but he nodded even though he didn't understand. The knock came, sharp and commanding. Daniel opened the door, forcing calm into his face. The guard stepped in, holding scanners that hummed as they swept the room. Daniel stood still, heart racing. Every muscle tense. The scanner beeped once, too close to the hidden bench. The guard frowned, walking toward the tarp. Daniel's hands curled into fists, ready to fight, even though he knew he would lose. But then, the lights in the outpost flickered. Alarms rang in the distance. Red lights flashing along the corridor. A voice shouted over the comm. "Unknown ships detected, approaching fast," the guards cursed, turning away from the bench, rushing out to their posts. Daniel slammed the door shut as soon as they left. Locking it tight, he leaned against it, gasping for breath, his hands shaking. "That was too close," he whispered. The alien looked at him, its eyes burning brighter now. "They are here," it said softly. Daniel swallowed hard, stepping to the port. Through the small window, he saw streaks of light across the black. Dozens of shapes moving like shadows in the void. Ships, silent but powerful. Surrounding the outpost, the hunters had arrived, and the search was about to begin. Daniel turned back to the alien. "What do they want?" he demanded, his voice rising. The alien's answer was quiet, but it struck like thunder. They do not come for me, human, it said. They come for you. The sky above the outpost was no longer empty. Through the viewing ports, people stared in silence as dozens of strange lights flickered in the void. They moved with perfect precision, too fast and too sharp to be ordinary traders. These were warships, elegant and terrifying, their hulls glowing with symbols no human had seen before. The alarm bells rang across the station. Voices shouting through the comm. Unknown fleet detected, all defense units to battle stations. Daniel stood frozen in his workshop. His heart thundered as he watched the shape slide closer. The alien on the bench whispered, "They have come." Daniel's voice cracked. "For you," but the alien shook its head. "For you," the outpost shook as defense cannons activated. Turrets turned outward, shields crackled alive. The commander's voice roared over the comm. "All civilians remain inside, do not interfere. We will repel the intruders," but deep in his chest, Daniel knew these ships were not here to be repelled. They moved too smoothly, too fearlessly. As if the station's weapons were meaningless, suddenly the fleet stopped. The ships hung in the black sky like a wall of light. Then one broke formation, gliding forward with a slow, steady grace. Its hull shone silver, etched with strange golden marks. It turned until its sharp nose pointed directly at the outpost. Everyone in the station held their breath. Was this the moment of attack? Daniel's workshop door burst open. 2 guards rushing in. "Come with us," one shouted. "The commander wants every engineer ready. We may need emergency repairs." Daniel nodded, wiping sweat from his brow, but inside fear ate at him. If he left, the alien would be discovered. He glanced at the bench, then quickly draped more tools over the tarp. "Fine, I'm coming," he said, forcing calm. As they marched through the corridor, Daniel saw faces pressed to windows. Civilians stared wide-eyed at the fleet outside. Children clung to parents, whispering questions no one could answer. Daniel felt their fear mix with his own, only he knew the truth. These ships were here for something more than war. In the command center, screens glowed with radar images of the fleet. The commander barked orders, "Hold fire, wait for my signal. We'll see if they move first." But before anyone could act, a beam of light shot from the silver ship. It did not fire at the station, it scanned it. A sweeping glow passed across the hull, across every corridor. Every room. Daniel stiffened, his mind racing. If that scan was looking for the alien, they would find it, and if they did, his secret would burn the whole station. Then the comm crackled. A voice echoed across the outpost, deep and resonant, not human. "Human Daniel," it said, "protector of the weak. Step forward." The entire command center froze. Dozens of eyes turned to Daniel, who stood near the back. His mouth went dry, his legs heavy. Did it just say your name?" a guard whispered. Daniel felt the weight of the world crash on him. His secret was no longer secret. The fleet knew who he was, and now everyone else did too. The commander stormed toward him, face red with fury. "What have you done? Why are they calling for you?" Daniel stammered. I don't know." But inside he knew. It was because of the alien, because of his choice to help. The silver ship drifted closer. The voice spoke again, echoing through every wall. "Human Daniel, chosen by mercy, stand before us," the commander growled. "You will explain this." He grabbed Daniel's arm, dragging him toward the hangar. Guards surrounded them, weapons ready. Civilians pressed against the walls, whispering his name in fear. In the hangar, the giant doors opened. The silver ship loomed outside, glowing brighter than in a flash of light. A smaller craft detached. It descended slowly, landing on the hangar floor with perfect balance. The hatch opened and figures stepped out, tall, armored beings with shining helmets and glowing eyes. They moved in formation, silent and precise. Their presence filled the hangar with an aura of power. One of them stepped forward, its voice carried like thunder. "We are the elite squadron of the Star Masters." It raised a hand, pointing at Daniel. This human aided one abandoned. Where others showed cruelty, he showed courage. Gasps filled the hangar. The commander's grip tightened on Daniel's arm, but the alien soldiers bowed their heads toward him, as if he were not a mechanic but a leader. Daniel's heart raced. "I don't understand," he whispered. The squadron leader spoke again. "You repaired the broken, you healed the forgotten. You carried what others cast away." The words felt heavy, almost too heavy to bear. "You are now bound to the stars," the leader said. "And the stars do not forget." The hangar shook as more of the squadron stepped inside. Their armor glowed with strange runes, Their weapons shimmered with unseen energy, and yet none of them pointed their weapons at the station. Every eye was fixed on Daniel. The commander's face twisted with rage. This is madness. He is just a mechanic. But the squadron leader's voice silenced him. To us, he is protector. Daniel felt the stares of every human in the hangar. Fear, confusion, and disbelief swirled in their eyes. He wanted to shout that it was all a mistake, that he had only wanted to help one dying stranger. But now, standing before the elite squadron, he realized his choice had echoed farther than he could ever imagine. The leader of the squadron extended a hand. Come, human Daniel. The stars call you. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. And in that moment, he knew nothing would ever be the same again. The hangar was silent. Every human eye watched the alien soldiers as they stood in perfect formation. Their armor shimmered with faint light, and strange runes glowed across their chest plates. Daniel stood frozen, caught between the furious commander and the kneeling squadron. He felt like the smallest man in the galaxy, yet all eyes were on him. Then, a sound came from behind. The workshop door had opened, and the old alien stepped inside. It leaned on the frame, weak but standing, wrapped in the blanket Daniel had given it. Gasps filled the hangar, weapons raised, shouts rang out. But the alien raised one hand, and even the squadron lowered their heads. Daniel's chest tightened, realizing he had never truly known who he had saved. The squadron leader spoke, voice deep as thunder. Starmaster, he said, bowing low, we thought you lost. The alien's tired eyes softened. Lost, yes, but not gone. The humans in the hangar stared in shock. Their commander growled, What is this? Who are you? But the alien ignored him, stepping slowly toward Daniel. You must know the truth now, it whispered. Daniel's throat felt dry. The truth about what? He asked, his voice trembling. The alien looked at him with something between sorrow and pride. I was once a guide of the stars, it said. I charted paths through the endless dark, led fleets through storms, showed empires the roads between worlds, it coughed, leaning slightly, but the squadron supported it. I was betrayed by my own kind, cast down, left to die in silence, it continued. Yet when I lay broken, forgotten, it was not my people who saved me, it was you, a human. The words hit Daniel like a weight. He shook his head. I didn't do anything special. You chose mercy, the alien interrupted, its voice firm despite its weakness. Others would have walked away or sold me for credits, or turned me over to the law. It stepped closer, eyes glowing faintly. But you repaired me, when no one else would repair the broken. Daniel's hands shook. He wanted to deny it, but deep inside he knew the alien was right. He had acted without thinking of reward, and somehow, that small act had reached the stars. The squadron leader turned to the humans in the hangar. Do you not see? He boomed. This human did what countless empires could not. He passed the test of the stars, the commander snarled. Test? What test? This is nonsense. But even as he spoke, the squadron ignored him. Their glowing eyes never left Daniel. The alien's voice dropped lower, so only Daniel could hear. You are chosen. Though you did not ask for it, the stars rarely choose, and when they do, it changes everything. Daniel shook his head, stepping back. I'm no leader, I'm no chosen anything. I'm just a mechanic. The alien smiled faintly. That is why you are worthy. Around them, whispers filled the hangar. Civilians stared, some with awe, some with fear. A few whispered Daniel's name like it was already legend. The commander's face twisted with anger. Enough of this, he barked. This station belongs to humans, not to alien stories. He pointed his weapon at the alien, but before he could fire, the squadron moved as one. In a blur of light, their blades ignited. Shimmering with energy, the commander froze, realizing he was outmatched. The alien raised its hand again, stopping them. No blood here, it whispered. Not now. The squadron obeyed instantly, their blades vanishing back into light. The silence that followed was heavier than any battle. Daniel stared at the alien, his heart a storm of fear and confusion. What do you want from me? He whispered. The alien's answer came slowly, heavy with meaning. The stars want nothing, but they see everything and they will not forget you. Daniel. It reached out, placing its frail hand on his chest. You are more than you believe. The squadron leader stepped forward, his voice deep and final. You are protector now. Your act of mercy binds you to us. Daniel's knees felt weak, his mind spinning. I never asked for this, he said softly. The leader nodded once, The stars do not ask. They choose. The hangar lights flickered, and for a moment the whole station seemed to hum with unseen energy, as if something greater than all of them was watching, waiting, deciding. Daniel looked around, seeing fear, awe, and anger in human eyes. He saw loyalty, reverence, and fire in the alien soldier's gaze, and at the center of it all he stood, an ordinary mechanic with grease on his hands. Yet somehow, the fate of more than just the station now rested on his shoulders. The alien whispered again. Weak but clear, your path begins, human, and once you take it, you can never return. Daniel felt the weight of those words settle in his bones. He looked out through the hangar doors at the endless stars beyond, and for the first time in his life, they no longer looked empty. They looked alive, and they were watching him. The hangar was heavy with silence. The commander stood stiff, his weapon lowered but his anger burning. The civilians pressed against the walls, their whispers filling the air like restless ghosts, and in the center stood Daniel, caught between two worlds. The squadron bowed to him, the alien watched him, and the stars seemed to lean closer, waiting. The alien spoke first, its voice soft but carrying weight. You saved me when the universe turned its back, it said. Now the universe asks what you will do. Daniel's throat tightened. He shook his head. I'm no leader, I fix machines. I don't guide empires. The squadron leader stepped forward, armor glowing faintly. You are more than a mechanic. You are proof that mercy still exists, he said. The stars offer you a place among us to walk the roads few have walked. To carry the title of protector. Daniel's chest burned with conflict. He looked around, seeing the faces of his people. Some stared with awe as if he were already chosen. Others glared with suspicion, as if he were already a traitor. And the commander's eyes were filled with rage. You will refuse, the commander barked. You are human, and your duty is here to Earth, to us, not to aliens who play with riddles. Daniel's hands curled into fists. He had lived his life in silence, fixing broken things no one else cared about. He had never been asked to choose something greater now. Both sides pulled at him. His people demanded loyalty. The stars demanded destiny. He glanced at the alien, who watched him with quiet trust. Not forcing, not pleading, only waiting. Daniel felt his chest ache at that silent faith. The squadron leader raised his hand. Step forward, and you will leave this place as one of us, he said. Stay behind and the stars will turn away, but their memory of you will remain. Daniel swallowed hard. Every breath felt heavy, every heartbeat loud. He thought of the long nights alone in the workshop, the endless silence of machines, the loneliness that had followed him for years, and he thought of the moment he had found the alien, broken and begging, and how he had chosen to help. That choice had already changed everything. The commander shouted again. If you go with them, you will never return. You will be branded a traitor to your own people. Daniel closed his eyes, feeling the words cut into him. A traitor or a protector. The weight of both felt crushing. But deep down he knew something. He had never belonged to the commander or to the station. He had belonged to the small voice inside him that chose mercy. He stepped forward, gasps filled the hangar. Voices rose in disbelief. The squadron bowed their heads deeper, their glowing eyes shining. The commander cursed, shouting orders. But the squadron's weapons shimmered with light, holding him back. Daniel stood tall, his hands trembling but his voice steady. I won't be your soldier, he said, looking at the commander. I won't be their king, he said, looking at the squadron. I will be myself, the man who fixes what is broken. The alien smiled faintly, pride glowing in its weary eyes. That is enough, it whispered. That is all the stars needed to hear. The squadron leader extended a hand. Then come with us, Protector, he said. Daniel hesitated only for a breath, then placed his hand in the armored grip. A surge of warmth shot through him like fire and starlight at once. The squadron's runes glowed brighter, as if his choice had completed a circle long waiting to be closed. The hangar shook as the smaller craft prepared to rise. Civilians watched with wide eyes, some crying, some silent. The commander shouted, You'll regret this. You'll damn us all. But Daniel didn't look back. He walked into the ship, the alien beside him, the squadron leading the way, the hatch sealed shut, and the engines hummed with a power unlike anything human hands had built. Through the viewing ports, the people of the outpost saw the craft ascend. It glowed brighter as it joined the silver flagship. The fleet turned slowly, stars reflecting off their hulls like fire across water. And then, in a flash of light, they vanished into the dark, leaving only silence behind. Inside the ship, Daniel sat in awe. The stars outside were no longer cold, they burned alive, close, endless, calling. The alien sat beside him, its voice soft. "You lit a fire no empire could ever put out," it whispered. Daniel stared at the stars, his heart steady now. Maybe he was still just a mechanic, but now he was also something more. A human whose kindness had been seen, remembered, and chosen by the stars.